Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the topic on work simplification. As the term suggests, work simplification means simplifying the work. So, the objective of this topic is to enable the student to define what is work simplification, to understand the various techniques of work simplification, to understand the importance of work simplification and to learn Mundel's classes of changes. Now, we will see what does the term work simplification mean. According to Nickel and Dawsley, work simplification can be defined as the simplest, quickest and the easiest method of doing a work so as to get the maximum productivity with less physical constraints, or else the ultimate goal of work simplification to accomplish the work done within very limited time and that too with more efficiency with less constraints. We can blend the simplification of work with two major resources, that is, the major resources that is utilized in work simplification are human energy and time. These two resources, when utilized effectively, can help one to simplify the work. Do you think work simplification is important in any food service establishment? Yes, it is definitely important. This is because this is a big challenge faced by the managers so as to simplify the work. Otherwise, the employees' efficiency cannot be utilized completely. So, as the work done in any type of industry is monotonous and tedious, it is very essential to ensure that simplification of work is one of the important aspects that is considered by all the higher level employees. Now, we will see what are the different techniques of work simplification. The techniques of work simplification can be classified into two. One is the formal technique and the other one is the informal technique. Formal method means to identify the work simplification using specific equipments, whereas in informal only pen and paper method are used. There is no specific equipment used in informal techniques. This formal technique and informal technique both are essential to identify the work, to do it in the most simplest and easier method. So, the formal techniques includes micro motion analysis and the cycle graph. These are the two important methods of formal techniques, and informal technique includes process chart, pathway chart and operation chart. Now, let us see each technique individually. First, micromotion analysis. It is a specific technique where different equipments like stopwatch are used. Here, the motions are recorded and then each individual motions are analyzed later to identify which were the unnecessary motions and what was the time taken to do each particular task. This time taken was recorded using stopwatch. Next is the cycle graph. Here, the photographic technique is used to identify the motion of that particular area of body. For example, if we want to study the motion of hand while doing a particular task, a small equipment with a light source is attached to our hand so that the motions are recorded using that source of light. And then the motions are analyzed, then we can identify where was the unnecessary motion happened, that is unnecessary step, and the extra time taken which is not necessary for carrying out that particular task. Now, moving on to the informal methods. The first one is the process chart. This process chart shows the entire process that is happening when a work is done. There are various symbols used in the process chart. Let us see the various symbols. First, it is a small circle which shows that the person is walking or the person is in movement. Then a large circle which shows that some kind of operation is being done. Then the other symbol used is a square which shows that the person is overlooking his job or ensuring the job is done. Ensuring the quality of job or whether it is done. And then the fourth one is a triangle which shows that the person is idle. That means no specific work is being done. And the last is a composite symbol which includes a small circle along with a large circle which shows that the person is in movement but at the same time carrying out a particular operation. So, these are the common symbols that is used in a process chart. When we depict a process, these symbols are used so that a person can identify where was the unnecessary movement which will be then analyzed and then recorded so as that unnecessary steps can be eliminated. Moving on to the next one, that is the pathway chart. Pathway chart, as the name suggests, the chart depicts the pathway through which a person moves. For example, if we are moving from a right corner to the left corner of a room for doing a particular task and we are moving in addition to some another idle spaces, then which is not necessary will also be recorded. Here only pins, strings and wall boards are used. So, the pins will be arranged in that particular area through which the person has moved. The string will be used to connect these pins and the length of the string and the time taken will be properly noted by a person who is observing the work. In both these cases, two people are necessary. One is for doing the assigned task, the other one will be observing the task. And the last one, that is the operation chart. Operation chart, rather than this process chart, they focus only on a single operation. A single operation will be analyzed and the movement of a body for that particular operation will be checked and the unnecessary movements will be identified which can then be eliminated. For example, in the preparation of operation chart, one particular task in production process will be taken which will be broken down into different components and each different components will be analyzed, especially in terms of the movement of the body that is being used in carrying out that particular task. For example, the movement of right and left hand together. There are certain symbols that is being used in the operation chart. The symbols are almost similar with the process chart, but the meaning of the symbols are different. That is, the small circle shows the movement of arms. The large circle shows the movement of fingers with arms. And the triangle shows complete idleness, same as that of the process chart. So, these three symbols are used to depict the movement of hands, that is the movement of left and right hand together. So, rather than the process chart, these symbols will be depicting how the movement of the hand is being taken or the motion through which the hand has gone while carrying out a particular task. These work simplification techniques help the worker in two different ways. First, it will help the learners to identify the work and to do it in the simplest way. And second one, it will help the person to do a work with motion mindedness. Motion mindedness means the person will be able to identify himself what are the different motions that through which he is carrying out a task and he can avoid those unnecessary motions. Now, we will move on to the next topic, that is Mundel's classification of motion. There are 5 levels of classification. Now, we will see each level. First is change in position, position number and types of motion. Second one, change in equipment and work arrangement. Third one, change in production sequence. Fourth one, change in finished product. And fifth one, change in raw materials. Okay, these are the 5 different levels of classification of motion by Dr. Marvin Mundel, and he says that without any laboratory procedures, these methods were best enough to identify how to simplify a job. So, we will move on to the first session, that is change in position, number and types of motion. He says that there is about 17 motions, that is knowingly or unknowingly happening in a body when a work is done, and these motions can be called as third blinks. Then F.R. Gilbert and Lillian Gilbert says that there are certain principles of motion, and they have classified these principles of motion into 5 different levels. They says that the work carried out should be in unison, that is each work should happen in a simultaneous way. For example, if you are carrying out a work using our hand, we should use both of our hands in simultaneous manner so as to avoid the fatigue for one hand. Then another principle says that effective routing is necessary. Effective routing means the route through which the work is carried out should be properly maintained. We should always avoid that back and forth motion. We should always stick on to that particular position where the work is being carried out, so that the time motion can be minimized, and so there will be more efficiency in work. And the third one is use rhythmic motions. Use rhythmic motions. For example, when we are carrying out a particular task, and if we have to wait for a specific period, we don't have to overlook for the job to get done. We can move on to the other job, so that 2 jobs which can be done rhythmically can save time. The fourth one is use of gravity. Use of gravity can be explained by a simple example. Suppose we are chopping the vegetables on a cutting board, which will be much easier than chopping them in air, so that the workload and the chances of fatigue can be minimized. So, these are some of the principles formulated by F.R. Gilbert and Lillian Gilbert, which says that this kind of principles can in a way affect the efficiency of the job. Moving on to the next topic, that is change in equipment and work arrangement. Change in equipment says that we have a lot of equipments that is available nowadays. So, whenever we have a provision to use the modern type of equipments with more efficiency, we should definitely rely upon them. Regarding the topic work arrangement, we should focus on different aspects like workspace, worker's area of reach, and the work area. When we speak about the work area, it is such that the area of work assigned for a job should be up to the waistline when the person is in standing position. And if a person is doing the work in sitting position, the area should be arranged in such a that there should not be unnecessary stretching of arms or necks so as to minimize the fatigue. Regarding the workspace should be such that all the activities to be carried out in a single task should have enough space so that extra walking or motion can be minimized. Regarding the worker's area of reach, which is very much important, is the height of the workspace should be up to the waistline of the person who is carrying out the work, and that is the normal area. When we move the arms in circle, that particular area at which we can reach by our arm is the normal area of reach, and the area that is up near the eyes of the person is the effective area of reach, and the maximum area of reach is that particular point where one can stretch his hand and he cannot do anything further about that point. So, these are the three different areas. So, when we carry out a job, easiest and best method is to arrange the things in the normal area of reach, and those things which are not much necessary can be placed in the effective area, and those things which are rarely used can be placed in the area of maximum area of reach. Moving on to the third point, change in the production sequence. That is, production sequence when comes into mind, it says that there are 3 points that has to be considered when we plan the sequence of a production. That is, get ready, do and clean off. So that when you plan a work, you should always focus on how to carry out that particular work, so that unnecessary movements, unnecessary times can be avoided. The fourth one, changes in the finished product. The finished product should be such that is according to our requirement. We don't have to give extra burden to improve the quality of that finished product. We have to focus only on the final requirement of the customer, that is what he or she wants. We don't have to emphasize the beauty of something rather than what is necessary. So, unnecessary works imposed on implementing emphasizing the beauty of something of the product can be minimized, and so the time and energy can be saved. Then the last one is regarding the changes in raw materials. We have plenty of materials that is being available now with easiest methods of preparation. For example, when we consider the cooking aspect, we have instant coffee, instant masalas, everything. So, why should we think about, or why should we focus on bringing all the spices together, grinding, sorting and bringing into a new masala when something which is instantly available? So, such kind of raw materials which is available can be utilized and thus reduce the physical exertion of any person, even the household workers. This work simplification helps us to reduce the time given for doing a work, then reduce the chances of boredom, reduces frustration, and in fact they reduces the physical stress, anxiety and tension. So, thus enabling one to do the task most efficiently. Thus, to conclude, work well done is satisfying and rewarding, but if we do the work with adequate skill, inefficiency and time, it can lead to unnecessary frustrations, fatigues and anxiety. So, now when you are assigned a task, you should be able to simplify it, you should be able to break it into such a way that it can be efficiently done with minimum time. Thank you.